Welcome to the Man of Recaps. Here's the complete Spider-Man recap before a brand new day. He first appears in Captain America Civil War with Tom Holland playing an adorably cute Peter Parker. And they make a great choice here to skip right over his origin story. We know how it goes. Radioactive Spider, Uncle Ben, great power, great responsibility. It's fellow science genius Tony Stark, Iron Man, who recruits Peter onto his side of the superhero Civil War. Then he gets his own movie in the MCU. It's Spider-Man Homecoming. After the adventure of Civil War, Peter wants to be an Avenger, but Mr. Stark's like, hey, you're not ready yet, kid. So for now, Peter does small-time hero stuff around Queens, becoming a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. One night, though, he foils a robbery from some guys that have very dangerous alien tech. They bought it from a guy with a cool wingsuit. It's the Vulture, who scavenges advanced weaponry and sells it on the black market. But he's not some hardcore villain. His vibe's just a blue-collar worker trying to provide for his family. So Peter calls his point man Happy Hogan, Tony Stark's longtime driver and friend. Happy has started hanging around more often because this time Peter has a hot Aunt May. He's got a huge crush on her. But he's like, hey kid, that sounds dangerous, don't get involved. So for now, Peter's life continues as normal. He's got a best friend Ned, who soon discovers he's Spider-Man and joins Team Spider. They go on a field trip to Washington, D.C., where Spider-Man's got to climb the Washington Monument to save his classmates, including his crush, Liz. But back in New York, Spider-Man tries to disrupt an arms deal on the Staten Island ferry, where the Vulture busts in with a big alien gun, and oh, the whole boat gets blown apart. Spider-Man's got to hold it together, but he can't this time. In fact, it's Iron Man who flies in to save the day. Tony Stark is real mad now. I told you it was too dangerous, kid. I'm taking my fancy suit back. So Peter focuses on his normal life, where he asks his crush Liz to the homecoming dance, but turns out Liz's father is the Vulture. And turns out tonight he's gonna pull one last job because the Avengers Tower is transporting all of their advanced technology. So without his fancy super suit, Peter puts on his old-fashioned homemade sweatshirt outfit. He and Vulture have a big fight on the plane and end up crashing the whole thing. Vulture's gonna get away, but his wingsuit malfunctions and he falls into the fire. But this Spider-Man's not gonna let him die. He rushes in there and Forrest gumps him to safety. In the after-credit scene, we're teased with another bad guy who might become the Scorpion. And now, 10 years later, he might finally come back. So now Tony Stark's like, congrats kid, you proved yourself. You can be a full Avenger. But he's like, I think you were right. I'm not ready for the big leagues yet. I'll see you after high school. But he's immediately thrust into the big leagues with Avengers Infinity War. It's in New York where Thanos' ship first arrives, so Spider-Man's nearby to help out. He ends up on the ship but cannot breathe in space. Luckily, Tony Stark's got a gift for him. It's the new Iron Spider suit. At the end, of course, the Avengers lose. Thanos snaps away half the population, including Peter Parker. It's a heart-wrenching scene. I don't feel so good, Mr. Stark, as Peter's dusted away, leaving Tony feeling guilty. But then in Avengers Endgame, the Avengers manage to bring back everyone who was lost, including our Spider-Man, who joins in the final battle and finally activates instant kill mode. But in the end, Tony Stark has to sacrifice himself to defeat Thanos and save the universe. And that brings us to Spider-Man Far From Home. Tony Stark's death weighs heavy on Peter. The world's looking to him to lead the Avengers now, but he's not ready. He just wants to be a normal teenager this summer, enjoying his school's European field trip and hoping to ask out his new crush, MJ. But their trip is interrupted when a giant water monster attacks Venice. Peter springs into action, but there's another superhero here, a new guy named Mysterio. Turns out Mysterio is Quentin Beck, a real great hero from a parallel Earth. His Earth was destroyed by these elementals, and now he's traveled here to help save this one. He and Peter get to talking. It's like, hey man, I don't want all this pressure yet. I just want to be a teenager. In fact, Peter has some more big pressure on him because Tony Stark left him a pair of glasses. They give him access to Edith, the entire arsenal of Stark tech, and he almost drone strikes his own bus. So now Peter's like, hey, that's too much responsibility for me. I'm just a kid. I can't be the next Tony Stark yet. But you, Mysterio, have proven yourself to be a great guy. You take the glasses and be the next Iron Man. So a weight is lifted off Peter's shoulders, but wait, what's this? The whole bar was a hologram. This was all a con to get Edith from Peter. Yeah, this crew is a bunch of disgruntled former Stark employees. Quentin Beck designed this advanced holographic technology, but Stark didn't like it and fired him. So now they're using this illusion tech to create Mysterio and become the world's next big superhero. It's not all fake though, there's weaponized drones, so the damage is real. But for now, Peter's hanging out with MJ. He's about to confess his feelings for her, but she thinks he's about to confess that he's Spider-Man. Yeah, she figured it out. But she happened to pick up a piece of drone that got hit, and when it activates, Peter realizes it was all fake. He was conned. He tries to warn Nick Fury, but Mysterio's already here, and it's impossible to fight him when you don't know what's real. Now, one of Spider-Man's powers has always been the spider sense, where he can sense danger coming. In this movie, Aunt May hilariously dubs it the Peter Tingle, but now he turns that tingle on, closes his eyes, use the Force, Luke, and oh, he's able to see right through these illusions. Mysterio gets hit by his own drones, and it looks like Peter won, but oh, it was another double fake out. Luckily, Peter saw through it this time, but I guess Quentin did actually get hit, cause it seems like he dies. So the day is saved. Peter and MJ have their hilarious, realistically awkward first kiss, so it's a happy ending, until there's a breaking news story from the Daily Bugle with J. Jonah Jameson. Yes, he's back! Turns out Mysterio's team leaked a recording where they altered the audio to make Spider-Man look like the villain. And on top of that, he now outs Spider-Man's secret identity, tells the world he's Peter Parker. And so in Spider-Man No Way Home, his secret identity being outed has made his life pretty messed up. He finds himself in legal trouble with the Department of Damage Control, so he hires a good lawyer. Yes, it's Matt Murdock, Daredevil. But when Ned and MJ are also rejected from MIT for being friends with Spider-Man, Peter's gotta fix this. He goes to see his wizard friend from the Avengers, Dr. Strange, who agrees to do a spell to make the world forget he's Peter Parker. But Peter tries to add exceptions for his friends who already knew he was Spider-Man, and that makes the spell unstable. Whoa, blows up. It brings people who know that Spider-Man is Peter Parker from across the multiverse, including his villains from the old Spider-Man movies. Dr. Strange will finish the spell to send them back to their home universes, but as they get talking, they realize that they were plucked from the moment before they die fighting their Spider-Mans. And they were all actually good people who were turned into villains by their powers, like Norman Osborn, who has the Green Goblin as his evil Gollum split personality. So Peter resolves to cure them before sending them back. But Dr. Strange is not going to wait, so Peter's got to steal the spell from him. So it is a Spider-Man vs. Dr. Strange fight, where against all odds, Spider-Man manages to trap Strange in the mirror dimension. So Peter sets about curing these villains, and with the advanced Stark tech from this universe, it's pretty easy. But just then, the Green Goblin takes control. He uncures the other villains, and they have a big fight. Aunt May comes to help, but oh no, hit with the glider! She survives long enough to tell Peter he's doing the right thing by helping people. With great power comes great responsibility. And then now Aunt May dies! Meanwhile, Ned figures out how to use Dr. Strange magic to make a portal to pick up their Peter. But that's not their Peter, it's Andrew Garfield, the Amazing Spider-Man. Yes, they're all coming back, it's Tobey Maguire too. You can watch my All Spider-Mans recap to refresh your memory on those, but they're not coming back in Brand New Day. So it's hilarious as all three of our Spider-Mans become best friends, and it's a triple Spider-Man finale. Working together, they manage to cure all the villains, and Dr. Strange is going to send them home. But just then, the Green Goblin pumpkin bombs the spell, and boom! Our Spider-Man has his final fight with Green Goblin, and because he killed Aunt May, Peter's ready to kill him. But old Spider-Man stops him. Come on, Spider-Man doesn't kill people. And so instead, they give him the cure, and he's like, oh, I'm so sorry. But now the spell is way out of control. It's ripping open the multiverse. To stop it, they have to make people forget not just that Spider-Man is Peter Parker, but forget Peter Parker exists entirely. So Peter says goodbye to his best friend Ned and his girlfriend MJ, who share one last kiss, as Dr. Strange completes the spell and everyone's back to their own universes. And the spell worked. His friends don't remember Peter at all. At first his plan was to tell them all about it, but now that he sees they're living happy normal lives without Spider-Man in it, he decides to leave. Yeah, they're better off without me. And so Peter Parker moves into a cheap apartment, no fancy Stark tech, just your good old-fashioned friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. We know from the trailers that Spider-Man Brand New Day will feature the Punisher. Here's the quick recap of his story. Frank Castle is the Punisher, who's kind of a bad superhero because he kills his villains. When his family was killed in random gang violence, Frank put on the Punisher vest and began his quest for vengeance. The Punisher hunted down all the gangs involved, so his quest for vengeance was finally done. But Frank discovers the gang shootout that killed his family was actually a CIA cover-up, and the shooter wasn't none other than Frank's old best friend, Billy Russo. So it's time for one last kill. He puts back on the Punisher vest, kills Billy Russo, and his quest for vengeance is finally done. Until The Punisher Season 2. Turns out Billy Russo survived, so it's time for one last kill. Frank puts back on the Punisher vest, kills Billy Russo for good this time, and his quest for vengeance is finally done. In Season 1 of Daredevil Born Again, Wilson Fisk, the crime boss Kingpin, was just elected mayor of New York. He forms a brute squad of dirty cops called the Anti-Vigilante Task Force, and they take the Punisher logo as their symbol. They idolize the Punisher for killing bad guys without due process, which ironically they don't realize makes them the bad guys. So Frank puts back on the Punisher vest. It's time for one last kill. He does not manage to kill Kingpin, but in Daredevil Born Again Season 2, Daredevil takes him down, so he's no longer running New York City. Then he got his own special, One Last Kill, where after killing the final gang involved in his family's death, Frank's not sure what to do with himself now that his quest for vengeance is actually finally all the way done. But the mob wife puts a hit on Frank to get revenge, and all the hitmen in the city descend on Frank's apartment, so it's time for one last kill, or in fact, a bunch of kills. In the process, he saves this other family, and so Frank realizes while his family may be avenged, there's lots of other families that can be saved. So he puts back on the Punisher vest, ready to continue his quest for vengeance, which never actually has to end if he extends it to pre-avenging other people. Also in the trailer, Spider-Man's fighting a gang of mystical ninjas. We know they're the Hand, and they were a main villain in the old Daredevil and the Defenders. Then finally appearing in Brand New Day is Bruce Banner, the Incredible Hulk. He's a scientist who was blasted with gamma radiation, and now when he gets angry, he transforms into a giant green rage monster. At first, the Hulk was very dangerous because he attacked everyone around, but in the Avengers, Bruce managed to control him a bit. That's my secret, I'm always angry. And the Avengers managed to point Hulk at the bad guys. By Avengers Endgame, the Bruce and Hulk personalities had fully worked out their issues. They started sharing the body in Hulk form full-time as Smart Hulk. Then, in in the She-Hulk show, Bruce started wearing a science wristband that lets him stay in human form. Also, we learned that Hulk has a son from the years he spent in Hulk form on the alien planet from Thor Ragnarok. I don't know if that will ever come up again, but watch out for that. So the Hulk is pretty well under control these days, but he's susceptible to psychic stuff like in Avengers Age of Ultron when the Scarlet Witch brainwashed him and sent him on a rampage again. So we'll see what's up with him in Spider-Man Brand New Day. If you liked this recap, hit that subscribe button for more of the best recaps of TV and movies.